obviously we've got the termite inspection.
Is it Susan or you? I have one from Susan and one from you.
I just sent mine.
Okay.
From my cell phone.
Okay,
I
cool.
hope I got it to the right address. So what do you guys do?
Well, authorization to show is from Susan. Okay, hold on one second. So let me get yours up. Termite report. Got it. Actually, she sent hers after you.
Did she?
Yeah. Okay.
So you get an inspection done and it shows just loads of damage, loads of work. So I know this, you guys probably had this come up quite a bit. We had one, there we go, where, buyer had a report. So the seller ordered it and they used their company. And so we got the report back and, so this is just showing, visible evidence, termite tunnels, damage above the left center wall, band 5 to 6 feet of board, 6 to 8 square feet of subfloor, wall plate, some siding will need to be removed, floor joists. I mean, all the yummy words you like to see in a termite report, right? Recommending actions. The part that kind of makes me a little nervous, and I don't know if everybody's thoughts on this. I'll tell folks though, for buyers, I'll say I think a lot of people want to insist on having the seller pay for every little thing, but I think for buyers, you're going to be better served having your own person go out there and take a look at it. Because here's an example where this house is previously treated. It was under warranty with this termite company. So they came out and did this inspection, and lo and behold, I know we've been servicing this house every year, but turns out you've got $5,000 worth of work that we could tell needs to be done. And that, I hate to say that, but it sort of incentivizes companies that are have the warranties in place for these folks to go by. Oh yeah, we've been checking this out. Looks great. So if you can get a fresh set of eyes out there, even if your buyer ends up having to pay for it, I think that's going to be better in the long run. So. Anyway, that's a bit of a side note. So if we can go down a little bit.
Sorry, I was wondering why Jed had my picture as his picture for.
It's a good looking picture.
It is. It is very. Yeah, she did a great job. But I was sorry, little squirrel there for a minute because I was trying to find myself to pin.
The proposal kind of lays out what.
Sorry, you want me to go down more?
Worries.
My problem. Not your problem, my problem.
Here, actually.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking
so
sideways.
The moisture was actually okay, but then the proposal they put together is where they lay out, termites to the crawl, talking about the band board. They're gonna have to pull away some of the may need to jack up the wall. That was exciting to see.
I had that done once.
So, this buyer was obviously a little nervous about it. They saw all of this, and of course the seller side was just, they got to work. I mean, it was, oh, here it is, but we're gonna take care of it.
Did you say that they were covered though by a warranty with their
yeah, apparently in that language on the report said it was previously treated. It's under a termite warranty until November. So it sounded like this company was under contract, but. So question, what do you guys, you see a report like this, your buyer comes to you like, what the heck? Can we get out of the contract? What do you guys think?
Depends on when it comes in.
Yeah, it depends on if you're within the contingency period.
Okay.
Paul Austin.
It was done during the term.
Let's talk about why you want it.
Contingency.
Well, and so his concern was, and again, just it's always good. The agent said, "Hey, look, the buyer's thinking about walking. We're past the PICRA stage. We've already gone through all of that. But he's just really nervous about this."
Is there an HOA?
HOA. That's also a good question. That's something we had come up recently.
Right.
So yeah, what does the contract say then? I mean, basically, if you see an inspection like this that. Hey, your buyer has to close and they have to get this work done?
Well, it's covered under the 1% cap.
It is. Yeah, and in this case, it was, I think the sales price is around $200,000 or $300,000 and the work was like $5,000. So it was over that 1% cap.
But you have to negotiate first.
Sure,
unless.
No, but if they're willing to do it, there is no negotiation.
Yeah. So, and it does, in paragraph 13, it says that, if the total estimated cost of the repairs described in paragraphs, blah, 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 collectively exceed the cap, then buyer alone or seller alone, or buyer and seller jointly can agree to pay the excess.
So would that not be covered under the warranty though, the work?
It seems like it would have been that, but we weren't really getting there. I mean, this termite company got this seller to, they're doing this work. They were,
But I mean, wouldn't it have been done under the warranty?
yeah, I mean, it seems
Like
to
the
be.
termite
that
company
if-
should
if-
eat the whole thing.
Yeah, if
Right.
the seller
They're
had
the
it
ones
under
servicing the
warranty, that
property.
would have been my thoughts. I mean, but you know, again, this was coming from a buyer side going, hey, look, I'm not sure if I wanna
So
close on
question,
this.
question would be is if the buyer can then bring in their own company after that work is
Inspect it.
completed.
Yeah.
And then
Perhaps.
be able to say, hey,
That's
look,
the-
that wasn't done and now I want out. because
Yeah.
it
Got
wasn't
it.
completed.
Yeah, and that was what I was telling. I was like, because if you scroll it down just a little bit,
Okay.
Tom Cena, they've included some language in there saying, you know, once we open this wall up, we may find some more work, and we'll have to send you another
dear.
proposal
Yep.
in that
Well, it
instance. And so we told the buyer, you know, I think the water is muddied here. You know, clearly the obligation in the contract is for a seller to provide a report that indicates that the dwelling is free from, you know, visible damage, repairs, and that sort of thing. So, and in this instance, you guys, do y'all ever see instance where?
Which
in
one is
order
it,
to-
Austin?
Yeah, if you just scroll down a little bit.
Note their baby.
Just in this one here. Yeah. Damage beyond the control of music. Yeah, here we go. Disclaimer. Yeah, they threw their little disclaimer
Courtesy
on
discounts.
there. But I mean, technically, our mortgage, our lenders requiring a clear report to get to closing? They need to see no visible evidence, like. So, I mean,
Yes.
you know, clearly in this instance, they,
Only on VA limit.
okay, just VA, all right.
Isn't it VA?
What's that?
Or-
It's on the contract.
Depends on the contract, okay,
If it's on the contract on a conventional, yeah.
If it's stated on the contract, it is.
yeah.
Remember, your inspection is just a choice. Just a
Basically put it on
choice.
an addendum out on
But if you,
conventional letter.
yes,
There you go.
so your inspection is a choice. So a lot of loans don't have to have that unless it's stated in it. VA does. You have VA, there's no way around it. Other loans, most of them don't have to have that unless it's stated. Now, just because that's a big thing. A lot of people think that when you choose the inspection, it has to be clear to close, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Just like a lot of people think that it's required to send you a copy of the EMD whenever you send the offer, and it's not. It's not written anywhere in the contract says you have to do that. But someone can ask that, but think about it, every time someone asks you, you just do it, right? You just do it anyway, but if somebody would ask you, it's still verbal, it's still not written. Nowhere has it ever been written in all of my years. Please submit EMD, copy of EMD with offer, anywhere that I've ever seen. We do it, and we think it's mandatory, but it's not. It's not
We used-
Oh,
mandatory to the
We
contract.
used to do that.
But no, so a lot of things that are in a contract is for the client to do and then make decisions, right? But it doesn't mean it has to be, think about inspection. The inspection doesn't have to be fully clear, right? It doesn't have to come back crystal clean because it never does in order for it to close. If you think of lead, doesn't have to be. You just have to choose whether or not. And the only reason the whether or not's on there, they put that on there years ago because people got sick.
Well, VA would have to be, right?
Yeah, VA, all VAs. Well, no, VA doesn't have to be. They can still sign and say that they don't want it.
Really?
Yeah, they can sign saying they don't want it.
Um,
They can waive that. There's not one.
but all this stuff is under the cap, as she was saying, and it's not really. Was this done in the same period of time as the Peepers?
It was after, so yeah,
But
the
Pittsburgh
agent said,
doesn't fall under the cap anyway.
right.
Understood, but I'm saying if the
In
this
those
inspection was done in that
negotiations.
period of time,
Yeah.
then you could allow.
It was
yourself
clear,
to-
yeah.
Yeah, I
In
see
this
what you're
case, we had reached, we had passed that point, so the seller was just getting a little nervous about, or sorry, the buyer was a little nervous about it and like, hey, I'm gonna be going out to sea. My wife's concerned that, you know, one day the floor is gonna fall in, you know, from termite damage and, you know, we're thinking about walking. And I told him, you know, yeah, when you see an inspection like this, there's some threshold there, I think. I mean, the custom is obviously, you know, you see, oh, there's a little bit of moisture, little fungus, treatment's done, we keep rolling, no issue. But, you know, if you get a report back that says the house is gonna need to be demolished and rebuilt, like, okay, well, that's obviously your buyer's not gonna be obligated to close under those circumstances. And maybe at some point in between, what I said is the waters are muddied enough. If you've got a good argument to make, oftentimes you're not gonna get parties that are gonna go to litigation on this thing when you see something like
It
this.
feels like the home inspector should have seen that kind of damage
Yeah.
and said,
Oh,
raised
yeah.
the flag.
Hey, by the way, it looks like we can see through the floor here.
But I
Yeah.
wanna know how we're, okay, 11 months, 10 months into this termite contract.
Oh, yeah.
It takes longer than 10 months for that kind of
Yeah.
Oh,
damage.
gosh.
So
no question.
whoever offered that
something that's-
warranty did not do a proper inspection.
There was something in there that looked like it said last treatment was a year ago.
Yeah, I
Which-
think
So
so.
it wasn't like every 3 months like it should be.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, the
it
termite
like
inspection
it's
is in
a
here.
But
Yeah.
but if you have a service contract, they should
Yeah,
come every 3
yeah, and
months.
I make my service guy go under the house and up
Uh-huh.
in the attic.
Yeah,
every
houses
3 months.
previously
Yep.
treated, they treat the house for every 3 months for termite, I thought it was just.
No,
a
for
once
termites,
a
I
year.
meant
Oh, okay, gotcha,
Termite was
gotcha.
once a
Okay.
year, but at least.
Yeah, so it was
coming out,
treated last year
and if
and
they
has a
saw
warranty.
something-
That just
Yeah.
seems like an awful lot of
Isn't that
damage for
insane?
10
Yeah,
months.
it was, not, that wasn't my problem, but I just thought.
Those are hungry termites. is what
Yeah.
Very hungry.
Right, tells you got a good compass.
And
Did the buyer buy it? or
they
what?
did, they ultimately ended up closing, and he told me, he said, my concern is, are termites like cancer where, first time it comes around, it's likely gonna keep coming back around. I said, I hadn't heard that, I don't know if anybody else is, I think if you treat them, then I don't think it means that they're coming back. So that was just kind of, yeah, so that was, we ended up talking to it, he ended up closing, so I think the biggest point is you get a buyer with cold feet. Let us talk to them, we'll have a conversation, explain what they're looking at.
Okay, let's say the buyer wants out.
Yeah,
Okay, he bought it, great, it all went, everyone's happy.
oh, yeah,
Now he wants out, he's past the period.
sure,
And the seller is willing to fix whatever the cost is.
Yeah.
He's willing to fix
they're
everything.
gonna do it, yeah.
How does he come out?
Yeah, so that was the question, and that was the discussion we had. I said, hey, given the way that this looks, I think we have an argument here to make that, hey, you've not provided a clear termite report within this time period. We're out of here. And what the other side,
Fixing everything.
yeah, but they were doing it. So the other side was represented by a title company. So I said, there's things here that kind of work in our favor, as far as like, this is, and I, explain the risk. We don't know ultimately how it's gonna turn out. I said that a judge in a courtroom is gonna be the one who decided, hey, do you have the right to do that or not? We just present arguments, and if it's convincing enough, if there's enough, if the water's muddy enough, then usually you're not gonna get a fight over it. So that's how.
But to the letter of the contract, Austin,
Yeah,
the buyer's still obligated to buy because they're doing the repairs and as long as they're doing them appropriately. Is that correct?
well, yeah, that's a great question. I mean,
They don't have to provide the clear letter, they just have to provide a letter.
But I mean, they're agreeing to do all the repairs.
It's
And
signed
whatever.
to agreed upon timeframe.
As long as
just have
they
to deliver, but if the buyers can find another company to come out and say that this is not clear, if this work was not done properly.
Of course,
Then they would have-
absolutely, yes. No, I mean, if they're willing to do all the stuff and they do it, then your buyer's still obligated to buy it.
Yeah, arguably.
But you can't get blood from a rock. There's always a way to get out of a contract, even if it costs you money. You cannot force a buyer to sign on the buyer.
Yeah, you can't make somebody close, right? Yeah.
But that's typically how.
You
judges
can't go to court and
probably
collect money
look
from
at
it, you can't make them
that.
close.
Probably.
It's easy to have cause the contract states that you don't have to have, like,
I mean.
you have to have permission to go there, but you don't need to have direct permission
This,
to get your buyer.
So it seems like there's lines of-
it would be, yeah, what is that line?
$50,000 job versus a $300 job.
Right.
They're gonna give notice, but not. Correct.
Well, and the contract does
They're got
say,
13B that you bring to that. Which is how she.
I'm
does
sorry,
the
you're
final
out of my
walkthrough
class.
and every single
Way
time.
above my.
Yeah. So that's what I have.
Okay,
That was a good one.
yeah, that was a really good one. That was a really good one. Are we done with
That's
this
all I
one?
got on that. I think Susan's gonna talk about some changes to the forms.
Yeah, I was gonna add on that
And
about
then
the
there's a
termite.
little house behind him. Well, maybe. It should have automatically moved, but I think I messed it up.
Yeah, on the termite warranties. Oops.
Oh, Susan, we cannot hear you.
Oh, I'm unmuted.
Hold on, Susan, it might be our volume.
Yeah, I'm
Try talking
unmuted.
again.
I'm here.
Hold
Can
on.
you hear me? Okay.
Oh, please.
I can read lips.
It might have,
How's it
Just when
going?
you thought you had
Well,
all the technical.
Good to see you all.
So good. It was so good.
Got bagels.
Want me to talk again?
Well, I can kind of hear her.
Is she there?
Sort of.
I'm here. Can you hear me? I think it,
I think the Bluetooth just went off because he was talking for a while.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think the people online can, but maybe the people in the room can't.
Okay, try now, Susan. Sorry.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, the folks online can, but I think maybe,
We found you.
Okay.
We found you.
yeah, I was going to add that most termite warranties are only treatment guarantees and they don't have damage warranties. And my guess is that termite damage was pre-existing. And I agree with Austin that, you know, it's astounding that that termite company would not have disclosed or didn't find the damage when they originally did the treatment, because I doubt it was 1 year worth of damage based on what it was. But yeah, most of the warranties do not have, they're just retreatment guarantees. They don't include any damage. And so if your client is looking to buy a termite warranty, they may want to look at the fine print pretty carefully and see if it's even worth their money to do it.
Is there any litigation possible if they've been your termite company for several years and never flagged that damage, just came and treated it? In terms of it getting worse over time, would there be any culpability on the termite company's part for ignoring it and not letting the owner know the damage?
Yeah, I mean, from a straight contractual standpoint, if they did sign some sort of an agreement, it would depend on what's in that agreement, which probably protects the termite company. But I don't know, and this I would defer to the litigation people in our firm, if there's any sort of common law negligence theory that would say that the termite company is responsible because they, you know, they had the opportunity and they didn't disclose it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, back when I was a young, naive attorney, I did sue a couple termite companies and we settled, so I never found out what the court would have said. So, yeah. And another question that, you know, what Austin raises is what really is a clear letter. So if the termite company that was identified on that letter had done all the work and then they provide, you know, a paid receipt or something showing they've done all the work they listed, is that really a clear letter? Or is the mortgage, if it were a VA loan, would the mortgage company be wanting a fresh letter that made no reference to all of the work that they did? I mean, I don't know, because I don't think I think Austin's argument is even if they do the work, they still have not presented a clear letter. But anyway, enough on that. Another termite related question, if you've got, this happened to someone else in the office, but if you've got someone who's under contract to buy, or a seller who owns in one of those, you know, old buildings in Norfolk that's been turned from an apartment building into a condo. We had one recently where there was a termite inspection done and they found like a little bit of old, what looked like evidence of termites in a door jamb. And the condo association, you know, they required treatment in order to issue a clear letter. And the condo association said, there's no evidence of termites, you know, of active termites. So we're not going to do a treatment. And the only way to get a clear letter was to treat the entire perimeter of the lower floor of that building, which of course the seller did not want to pay to have the entire building treated. So it really put them in a bind. I'm not sure how it came out, but it's just something to watch out for when you've got a condo. As to whether or not the condo association, you'd be better if you were a seller to go through whatever company the condo association has used for termite control and not let the buyer pick in that case. The buyer, of course, as Austin said, wants to pick the termite company, but if you're the seller and it's a condo, I would probably insist on the seller getting it so they can go through the termite company that's under contract for that condo. But anyway, that's a whole different problem. Lucy had sent me the most recent rain form updates. There's really, I don't want to dwell on it because I know you all got a busy meeting ahead, but most everything that was changed had to do with the recent NAR settlement. And so you're going to see minor subtle changes in some of the rain forms. For example, on the data input form, the block that used to have the commissions and what you were offering for the selling agent compensation is completely gone. There is still a field for seller concessions, but it doesn't have anything to do with the commission, and you're not even allowed to make a reference to commission in the MLS listing anywhere. So all of the negotiations over the selling broker commission and how much you're going to be able to get the seller to pay is going to have to take place at the time you're negotiating the contract. You won't see it advertised anymore on MLS because it's not allowed to be based on the NAR settlement that our MLS has participated in. And likewise, on your listing forms, the SLA and SAER, those do indicate the amount of commission still for the listing broker. That hasn't gone away. And it does indicate if you're offering, you can still offer concessions to the buyer. But it's in black and white on all of these, at the top of all of these forms, that RAIN is not involved in any way in establishing or negotiating brokerage fees, which are not set by law and are fully negotiable. So that's just going to be how it has to be. And you can offer seller concessions, but they can't say in the seller concession block that it's to be used for commissions. You can say it can be used for closing costs, or you can leave it blank, but you can't say it's to be used for commissions. And Lucy and Thomasina, feel free to jump in if you want to. To further emphasize it in the CDIF, they've added a little paragraph 20.
Susan, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Go ahead,
Lucy
please.
had one finger up. Go ahead, Lucy.
With regards to the data input and that seller concession spot, I know there's an asterisk next to the description of seller concessions, which usually means it's a required field. It is only required if you put a dollar amount and state what you, therefore you have to state what the dollar amount can be applied to. So you can check yes or no and leave everything blank. You can leave everything blank, but if you put a dollar amount in that second box, you absolutely must state what that dollar amount can be used for.
Lucy, would you suggest that I mean, could they put, do you think if they don't want to commit on what it's to be used for?
I think you leave the whole thing blank. The whole thing needs to be based on what the contract is, that the seller can see what their bottom line is before they commit to anything, even a buyer's agent compensation. I think that needs to be blank from all of our listings across the board.
Okay, thank you for adding that. So if for whatever reason they wrote something, a dollar figure, they would have to put a description, but your recommendation is, just let it be negotiated as part of the contract rather than offering it up front.
I wouldn't veer down that road either.
Okay, makes sense.
Especially since, okay, so here's a big thing. So now they're rearing up to do another lawsuit because of the loopholes that the MLSs are putting like this. So for our office, it's not, I would suggest, we're not doing it, guys, because you're going to have to go back and change it. Now, if this all stays and everything's great for 6 months, we'll reconsider. But for our office, we're not doing it, which is going to be part of the training today. We're not going to get caught with our pants down. Most of us don't wear panties anyway, or underwear. I know you all. You're all going commando. I know it. You're out there commando.
Love this bro.
It's a nice little inside joke. Side note. She's not even in here to be able to enjoy it. Nikki, when I first met her, told me that the Indian community will negotiate down. They'll even negotiate to take the underwear with the house, she said. And I immediately responded, don't wear anything. So that's a little inside joke, but she's not even here to do it. So anyway, we're not doing it because we're not going to get caught with our pants down, because they're now, I'm reading every single day to make sure that we're up on top of things and trying to put everything out at our Stump the Brokers on Tuesday. So if you guys aren't coming, you need to. I'm putting a lot of time into reading so you don't have to. They're now saying, great. The DOJ saying, oh, everyone's coming up with loopholes, huh? Oh, okay. All right, you all want to play the game. You all want to play the game. They're already taking Google to court, not once, but twice. When is the government usually does one and done. Now they're taking Google back to court again with DOJ, back to court saying that they have monopoly with their search engine. So it's going to just continue. on and on and on with the DOJ coming in. I'm not saying anything bad about the DOJ. I'm
Unless
just
they
stating
change.
factual information.
Unless
And-
their leadership changes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll
So-
see. We'll see, because then when the leadership changes, even if the leadership changes, whatever side you're on, it takes at least 1 year, right? Takes at least 1 year. So they're already talking about how the MLSs are finding ways and how they're going to sew those holes up. Sew those holes up. So for this brokerage, we're not going to do it. There's just no point. They're going to make us go back and change it. Again, if it stays for a while, great. If you don't agree with it, please come talk to me. We'll talk it out, but
Until you agree.
well, I'll go into it further, because the most people in here have been coming to Stump the Broker, so they already know what's going on. That's why they're not going, wait. But if you don't agree, please schedule a meeting with me. If there's nothing on my calendar for 2 weeks, because usually it's booked, just give me a call. We'll work it out, but we're not gonna do that, guys. I'm all about, as Susan says, the safe way is this, here is the other ways, right? Susan's always like, this is the safest way, this is the safest thing, to keep you safe, but here's the other ways. Or she'll say, I could see that, but this is the safest way. And for this, I am trying to do my best to make sure our brokerage is playing the safest way possible, that we're not doing double the work, and we're got double the confusion and double the mishaps. So Lucy was very kind in saying she doesn't suggest, but now Lucy has a rule.
Oh, yay, Lucy likes rules.
Lucy does love the rules. She loves the rules, but we're not doing it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to put all of us in that situation. Not at all. Not at all.
Now back to Susan.
And back to your regularly scheduled program, Susan.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the changes basically are along that line. I mean, in the
Yes.
CDIF, they've added a whole paragraph saying that called a steering disclosure that RAIN does not permit steering based on compensation offered to a buyer representative. Seller's not required to offer to pay any compensation. So that's,
There you go. It's already.
emphasized there. In the purchase agreement, they had already, of course, changed the purchase agreement to put the commission in the purchase agreement. So that really didn't change. They just added one little clause that the selling firm is, that the commission that's in the contract is provided that the selling firm represents the buyer in some capacity, which we would think would be a given, but it's just tracking the language of the settlement that's required. So that's in paragraph 17, why they made that little addition. One thing, just one little thing they did change that's not part of the NAR settlement had to do with the miscellaneous paragraph on the purchase agreement where they added a definition of business day. Does anybody know, I'm sure you do, where in the contract, the only place in the contract that talks about business days as opposed to calendar days?
Earnest money deposit.
Yeah,
Lucy,
that's really it.
I had to announce it. You're not supposed to answer questions, Lucy.
Sorry.
Earnest money deposit. Everybody
Couldn't help
agrees.
myself. Yeah.
She couldn't.
I know, I understand that. I can't help myself too. But yeah, that's the only thing. And that's for a practical reason that the banks aren't open, on federal holidays and the weekend. So that's the only reason they have business day anywhere in the contract, but everything else is calendar days. So that is really it. And I know that Lucy and Thomasina have, know way more about all of the ins and outs of what's going on with RAIN than I do. I did put in the chat, I thought it was helpful. NAR has this very lengthy FAQ on its website. And if you haven't looked at it already, it's a helpful thing to be familiar with, just if you get questions from consumers and things like that. So that's all I had to say, unless anyone has any questions for me or Austin.
Any questions online? I'm looking at the chat now. Is there any questions online or here in person about anything? Anything with the new changes? Anything with the contracts? Anything with the new rules, regulations, our brokerage?
Just on a
Yes.
side note, nothing to do with the new rules. How long does a home have to be rented for someone to be able to do a 1031 exchange?
That's a good question.
First, I'm going to say is I'm sure anyone would say you need that person needs to talk with their CPA But I'm trying to think what I've heard people tell me in the past, if it has to be 2 years. That's probably what's recommended, but I don't know that there's a hard and fast rule, and the seller really should talk to their accountant on that.
Hey, can you text or email, Ute, thank you. If you don't mind, Ute will definitely know. Ute knows, right?
We send everybody.
Right? Same. If you don't use Ute for that, something's wrong because you're unsafe.
What am I missing? What is
Town
it?
bank.
1031,
She's the 1031 exchange person that knows everything about 1031 exchanges in this area and has been doing it since 1852 BC.
You can tell I've never done an exchange.
Yeah.
You know she's good when other lenders promote her.
Right?
You know?
Other lenders, most attorneys that I know promote her. I say most just because there's some that I haven't had any 1031 exchanges with, but she's really good.
I mean, there are.
So
attorneys
we'll
out
get
there
back on that
do
question,
but-
hopefully. She's really quick to answer too. We'll get back on that question, hopefully before.
Yeah, I
Any
think
other
Munesh,
questions?
you're probably talking about Munesh, like if somebody buys on a 1031 and then they eventually want to move in as their primary residence, how long do they have to rent it for it to count? Is that kind of what
Yes.
you're?
No, the
Okay.
question is,
Oh, he should have said yes.
It
Okay.
is, it is their primary residence. How long do they need to rent it for to do a 1031 exchange when they sell it?
Sell it.
Yeah.
Versus a box that says primary.
Was
then
primary,
rent it,
became a
turn it
rental.
into an investment, then sell
Yeah,
it.
because it's their primary.
It was their
they wanna-
primary.
they
They're
don't wanna
going to buy a new home. It's going to become a rental home. It's going to become an investment home.
Yeah.
How long does it have to stay an investment home? That's what it is. How long does it have to
Yes.
stay an investment home before they can do a 1031 exchange on it?
correct.
How long does it have to stay an investment home before they can do a
Usually answer
1031
both.
exchange on it? You're not locking eyes with me and I know you. You're not listening to me.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
I
I know. I was making sure we're typing the right thing because you're not looking at me. I know
Can
you.
you ask
I
your?
don't know, there's like 9 people talking.
I know,
I'm
I
trying
know.
to focus.
So it was, it was,
Good luck, bro. Pretty good at it, I guess.
right? It was, how long does an investment home have to be an investment home before they can do a 1031 exchange? Now
And I
know.
think a lot of it has to do with whether it's worthwhile doing the 1031 exchange, which has to do with the amount of depreciation that's been taken in the basis in the home. So she may give you some general pointers, but I do think she's going to say you need to talk for a specific answer. That's going to be a tax question, and it will depend on that particular property, most likely.
Great lawyer answer there.
Right?
Right.
She's got the best. Oh my gosh, Susan, we had a really, really rough
Yeah.
transaction, which we're going to talk about at Simple Broker on Tuesday. We had a really rough transaction. Me, Austin, Jordan, an agent that I used to have with us on the other side, another broker, and the Lord were all involved in it.
I'm
Also
glad the Lord
named.
was, it's good the Lord
Yeah,
was
it
involved.
also named, he wasn't contractually there, but was named by both parties. In a good and bad way. So, but at the end, when we all got a giggle was, sorry. Mr. B just ran by and it looked like a mouse went across the thing, but it wasn't, it was Cindy's little dog. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, we got a good giggle because Austin made us laugh at the end because another attorney on the other side had responded to directly, to us as agents. And he did not put Austin.
Please
Oh my
govern
God.
yourself accordingly.
Please govern yourself accordingly. So Austin said it's not valid. It's not valid. We can't do it.
Gotta use
I've
that.
used that ever since you have, Susan. I have used that ever since you have told me that for the very first time. And I use it all the time. I love it.
Mandatory meeting.
I know. Anyway, he
just wants to say hello.
Oh, we're having. So anyway, we all got a nice giggle out of it because I mean, people were in tears. It was a rough one. It was a rough one.
Yeah.
Just so you know that your little one-liner, shed a little bit of light onto that situation. All right, anyone else have any more questions for Susan or Austin? I don't see anything, online either. And so we will continue on with,
Thank you all.
round of applause, guys, for Susan and Austin. I know, it's so sweet. All right, up next is Cragen. Go ahead, Cragen, I'm getting your thing up there. There we go.
Hello.
We got a big crowd today, which is why.
Right?
Couple things real quick. So we have anybody that's going to the ODU Virginia Tech football game on Saturday? Anyone? Got one, got two. So anybody that's going or has a chance to go, we're doing a tailgate out there in the WHRO lot, which is the blue lot. It's gonna be super cool. We got a bunch of fried chicken and so I think we got some barbecue, and Susanna, our partner who runs Compact Canine Rescue, is gonna be the one cooking. If you don't know anything about her, 20 years in the food service industry, working directly for Cisco in primary senior level management. And I say these things because she is a great chef. If anybody's been to our holiday party, she pretty much curates the whole thing. And it's literally some of the best. I have friends of mine that are like, I can't wait till you come to the next party because the food was like outstanding. I say these things because that's who's cooking the food for our tailgate on this Saturday. So go Monarchs. Hopefully we win again. Next up, couple things. So our company just, we have new investors, or not new investors, investors with new products all the time. So we have a new one that's 2-1 buy down, but it's lender paid. So it's kind of a cool product. Still reasonably priced, with the rates and all the things. They're not jacking up the rates to cover the lender paid buy down. So it's a good one. 2-1 buy downs, lender paid. Next up, I have another investor who called me yesterday, and he was super cool, but I've used him before. It's non-QM. It's no income, no employment verification. Yes, the loan to value has to be 80%. So with all these non-QMs, most of them are 20% down. So it is 20% down. Rates are in the 8 to 10s from what they told me. And then, I know that those are the questions that were going to come up. I know Manesh is like, well, what's the rate? What's the down payment? But no, those are great questions. But so if you have any more questions about those specific types of products or anything non-QM, obviously reach out. I just locked a girl yesterday at 5% on a VA Earl. So FYI, they're out there.
What do you think they're doing?
It was paying very, very minimal points, very minimal, like less than probably 0.5%. So
What do you think the rates are doing? What are they gonna do?
Wait, do we want to?
yeah,
That's great.
that's funny you say that. I've got some great lender partners in here, and they'd be great. Collectively, I think we're all on the same page. That's funny.
I mean, somebody waiting to refinance.
Yeah, sure, now's the time, because if we're locking rates in the 5s, historically speaking, in the last 20 plus years, since 2001 or whatever, the average has been around 5%. So if they bought, I've seen a bunch of people a bunch of lenders put on social media, hey, if your rate's in the 6s or the 7s, call me. It's very true. If your rate's in the 6s and 7s, let's call. Let's see if there's a net tangible benefit to you or your client to refinance.
What does it cost to refinance?
I mean, it just depends. I say the net is probably 5,000 to 6,000. Jessica, Bill, please follow up.
I say the same thing. I say 2% of the new loan amount, just to give a general idea, but I estimate on the high end, and then
Yep.
it usually comes down,
Love it.
which is usually 5 to 7%.
Yeah, it depends on loan type too.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay. Because you do settlements, so you know how much closing costs are.
I do.
Or
Oh, he's
refinance.
like,
So,
It's
that
like
being
free,
said-
basically. Just call these lenders. They'll take care of it.
it's free.
Refinance. Bring us the closing bill.
Yeah.
I love Austin. It's free. Just call the lenders. They'll take care of
Another
it. Use
plausible
ours.
deniability. You got me.
But the majority of the closing costs aren't hefty closing costs. It's the
No.
prepaids that make up resetting up the escrow payment to be able to pay your taxes and insurance.
Do
Yeah.
it.
So then they
Hey,
get
can you
their-
come up here?
So the prepaid.
I know, you're like, are you serious? And I haven't seen it. She's due like any day.
Yeah.
What you pick today, because I'm for you.
Yeah.
I was just gonna stand with you.
Yeah.
I have it.
So it's the prepaids and the prepaids and escrows that make up the big difference in what I typically, I don't know what you guys do,
Yes.
but I typically say is you're gonna get reimbursed your escrow account. If you feel comfortable even paying those at closing to keep from rolling them in, although it's not significant because it's going over 30 years, so it's really changing your payment like $15 maybe. So there's cash in your pocket, or you get to skip a payment, just like you do when you purchase. So if you want to not skip a payment and just apply that to just lower what you're rolling back in, it's not significant enough that you shouldn't try to do a refinance.
So is there a minimum amount percentage wise lower than your current?
I say half a point to a point. What do you
Yeah,
say?
I mean, the
Really?
VA is mandatory 0.5 point. If you can't get at least 0.5 point.
In
the
210
VA
days.
Yeah, in 210 days,
210
VA Earl is out the door. So
And they have to recoup within 36 months, which we
On
want it
VA.
to be less than that.
on a VA loan,
Yeah.
it's mandatory if it's not within, because we have to fill out a whole worksheet for that on a VA loan.
No.
If it's not within 36 months, it's out the door, can't do it. So yes, you know, we just run the scenario. If you're gonna save $200 a month, here's what it's gonna, here's the recoupment time. It's no different than if we're doing a purchase and they're gonna buy down the rate. You know, it's no different because what's the benefit of you doing this, you know? So it's all, once again, like they said, it's person specific. So put the stuff in front of them, let them make the decision and see what they got.
I'm gonna let her go next because she's already up here, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Nope, I was thinking the same.
That's all I got.
The only thing I was gonna add to the rate conversation is that, I don't know if y'all remember during COVID, but rates dropped to 0, right? But they weren't actually 0. So the same thing's gonna happen when the Fed meets next week, this week, what day is it? The 17th, 18th. They're planning hopefully to finally do a rate cut, but, it doesn't mean that we're gonna see a direct correlation. If it's a 1/4 point or of a 1/2 point, it's not gonna be a direct correlation to our rates dropping. What happens is the market already sees it coming. You guys have seen and heard that rates are starting to come down. So we're already starting to see the rates adjust. We probably will still see them lower, but it's not gonna be a direct 1/4 to a 1/2 point necessarily. Could it be? Maybe, but it's very unlikely. So just something to remember.
Depends
Just
on
like
how
when the
debate goes tonight.
You can sit on the couch.
and just like how when the
Yeah.
rates went to 0, like that was, I remember standing in my kitchen
So,
and seeing seeing rates are 0% and everybody losing their mind on Facebook. And I was like, God, no, why? No, like freaking out. It wasn't 0%, but people couldn't grasp that. Why is my interest rate not 0%? So just the same things.
That's what we should have done.
So
How much of a percentage drop or increase
Will
will
induce the
just have the
baby.
baby? Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Any other questions? I feel like we all kind of are talking. So
Same thing.
it's just to help you guys.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank
No
you.
problem. I probably won't be here next month. If he hasn't come yet, I'm still not coming.
Good. You're not gonna bring him in for us to see?
I mean, if he's here, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, bring little Jimmy in.
Close.
I'd
Close.
love to meet him.
Very close.
And Jimmy, really, to answer your question, it really depends on the person for the refi. Does it make sense?
Oh.
Are they gonna be in the house?
Right.
Are they gonna apply that payment and the escrow that they get back? Are they gonna apply it down to the loan? Where's the, you know, I have somebody that's recouping in 8 months and they're saving $400 a month, but that's because they're taking the months that they skipped. They actually did it in 29 instead of a 30-year EARL. I mean, they truly just want to lower the rate. And then there's some people that just want to do it to skip a payment. So we just gotta see if it makes sense, because everybody, you wanna ask the extra questions, because the last thing you wanna do is do it with somebody that's transferring in a year, because they're probably not gonna recoup their savings, and you wanna take care of them. Couple things, my son is at Disney, so of course, I get Disney quotes about every other day, and the one I got yesterday, I thought was pretty cool, but it was actually from Universal, not Disney. But happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, even if only one remembers to turn on the light. Albus Dumbledore. So that was a quote he sent me. So I was like, cool. My son is becoming a literacy, whatever you call it. He's an art scholar. But we have a few products that are out there that we're taking advantage of. We are now doing HELOCs, 5 to 7 day closes. We are now doing listing. If you have listings that are sitting out there, we actually buy down the rate. It's not a 2-1 buy down. We do have those, but this is actually something that's unique that we actually, if it was listed at 6.5%, we show it at 4.5%, and when the seller pays for it, typically the seller raises the price, but the payment's about, and it opens up the queue of buyers that you can actually get into the home, because now you've opened up the market from a $250,000 purchase price to now you got people that were at a $200,000 that now can afford the house. So just a couple ideas. So if you have listings out there and you want to talk about it, those are a couple examples. Other than that, right now, we're just grinding. You said you had an open house this weekend. I picked up 2 clients at an open house this weekend. I had Mandy work, so grind it. There's lots of people coming in there that are unrepresented from agents and lenders. So, you know, I know it's back to the basics, but I'm telling you, we probably picked up 4 or 5 people just in the last month, just for open houses. So other than that, we're around for questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm a granddad, so
Yeah.
I'm taking care of the baby a lot. So I apologize that I haven't been here for the last
Super
few weeks.
granddad.
Yeah.
Super granddad. That's
Okay.
okay. You
Thank
send
you.
Manny and we like her.
Okay.
Not that we don't like you, but.
I understand.
Yeah. All right. Tina, are you on here? Don't see her. I really don't see her. Okay. I did also see Brandon or Carolee. Carolee, are you on there somewhere? I can only go down so far without losing the top. Okay. KB Court, it is working excellent. We had people that were talking about it a couple weeks ago and Stump the Broker that when a new listing was posted, it automatically made a post and posted it on their Facebook, and it wasn't even their listing. So that is huge. You get a lot. Yeah, I know. It's great. But a lot of people don't know that. So just make sure that you're going to the classes that they offer. They email them. They're also on KB Core themselves in line or online inside of it. You can go look at them. It's pretty cool. They have all kinds of things. Drip emails, drip texts. They already have text set up. The minute that you put one of your clients on it, it'll go through. I mean, it's just amazing. And you don't have to pay for it. So that's a plus and a bonus. Someone asked me also that how come they weren't on our website? And I said, you're not in KB Core. If you're not in KB Core, it's not going to read for you to be on the website because the website's through KB Core. It picks up all of the agents there. So make sure that you are signed up and on there if you want to be on our website as well. Tomorrow, right? Where's Bill? Right, tomorrow?
Yeah, and the sun
The sun is shining.
First time in 3
The sun is shining. All right, so we only have room for how many is at each table? 12 at each table? There's 12? 12 total, right? Yeah, and there's already 3 of us there. So 9 people. We have room for 9 people right now. Text me directly if you want to go. We have a table. It's going to be great. We're going to have some drinks, some food. Table, listen to some good music. So text me. The first 9 people that text me can go. Mary Frances had texted me before. Mary Frances, just let me know if you're still in, and we will make sure that you're on there. She was the only one that texted me after. Fall Festival will be in the middle of October. We're going to have it here at the office. Fall Festival. We'll have contests, games, painting, pumpkins. We're going to set up a big screen blow up out there with a movie playing. We're going to play Nightmare Before Christmas out there so the kids can go. Yes, we are. She knew that was happening. We've got the projector and everything. We're going to set it up in the field, see how it goes. If it does go, we may add next year family movie night into our things to do with families for all of us. It'll be fun. But we're going to try it out and see how it goes. So that'll be there as well for our fall festival. Geico said that they may be getting the gecko costume again. I know the kids love that, but this is one that it's, bring a +1 and the kiddos, nieces, nephews, grandkids, also sons and daughters. Puppies too. You can bring the puppies. Yeah, you bring the puppies. So all of that, it'll be great. 5 to 7 p.m. here at our office. Lucy Love Notes.
Okay. I have things.
That doesn't automatically show. Oh.
That's a Wednesday, right? Just a
Yeah.
fall festival.
Oh crap.
It
I don't
is.
know.
It is.
Okay, good.
I want to start off with reminding everybody that LLC docs are required to be in brokerment when you, I'm sorry?
They have to be stamped.
If I'm not going to hang up on that. If they've started the process, if we've got documents saying that this is the LLC, this is the sole proprietor or the person who has the signing authority, I'm going to leave it to the attorneys to fight that battle at the end. If you can prove to me that there's something in action, I'm fine with that.
So say again from the beginning, what is required?
LLC
docs.
documents that show the name of the LLC and the name of the person or people who have the authority to sign real estate documents for that entity. Okay, now you cannot give me a group of buyer consultation documents that have buyers' names on them and then give me a purchase agreement that shows the buyer is an LLC. That's not going to fly. I need your buyer consultation documents to be the same as what the purchase agreement is. So now you're going to have to go back and do them all with the LLC, giving me the LLC documents and providing the correct signers. Okay.
Mhm.
So you can't have conflicting information. It's not going to fly. because that LLC is not the same as these two people who signed the agreement with the brokerage to purchase property. It's different. And it matters. Okay? I do want to touch on the steering paragraph in the CDIF and go a little further into that. Steering is when you guide, coerce, recommend to a client that it is in their best interest to do something when it really is in your best interest for them to do that
That's
thing.
a great way to explain it. That was really good. Say that again. That was really good.
It's when you encourage your client to do something, having them believe it's in their best interest when it is actually in your best interest that that's what happens.
That's a really good explanation.
Okay,
Good job.
so I want to explain this in detail in regards to the steering with the commission, the new compensation agreements and everything. You call on a listing because your buyer is interested in the home, and the listing agent comes back with, we're not promising any compensation whatsoever. Bring me your contract and we'll see what plays out. Okay. If you go back to your buyer and say, and your buyer's got no money to pay you. You know your buyer's at a big fat zero for your compensation if you can't negotiate something within the purchase agreement. So you go back to your buyer and you say, look, we can look at this house, but you need to know that they are not promising a compensation for me. I cannot work for you for free. We agreed to that in the buyer brokerage agreement. We agreed that the minimum I would get is 2%. You say you can't give me that 2%. So we can go forward and we can put in the purchase agreement on this property. And when we get done with submitting it, if they come back and say they're not paying my commission, are you willing to walk away from this property because you cannot pay? You have never said to the buyer, we can't go look at this property. It's not in your best interest to look at this property because they can't pay me and you can't pay me. You're going to have to go through all the motions, and you're going to have to come back with written proof to that buyer that says there's a big fat zero on here. Is there someplace you can get this money? Because if there's not, we need to decline and walk away. You have given it to your client to make the final decision. You have not made any assumptions on their behalf. So even if you give them all that information, you say, look, we're not sure that they're going to give us any compensation. And your buyer says, well, then never mind, I don't want to look at the house. You have not steered them in any direction. You have given them all the information. They have made an educated decision and told you what they want to do. There has been no steering in that situation. Okay. Any questions? Because I know that can get complicated.
Any questions online or in person? I'm watching the chat just to see.
So those are the two big things is LLC docs, and you're going to have to circle back around if your buyer does something different between consultation and purchase, and make sure everybody's aware of that whole steering thing.
So when you're putting the LLC information on a agreement,
Mhm.
original documents, consultation. So-and-so LLC trade and no individual's names. They
Correct.
just sign it.
The individuals'
Whoever
names
can
are going
sign
to
for them.
is going to be on the signature line, the initial lines, initial and signature page, comma, member, comma, president, comma, sole member, managing partner, however you want to put that. And then that's how they're going to sign all documents going forward. In the name of the LLC as the actual client and the signator, comma, title. Okay, awesome. Thank
Nobody
you.
had any questions online either, so we are good there. Admin's agenda. So one thing that the admin needs for you guys to actually approve your listing, so don't forget you have to do that, you have to approve it. before we can put it on live. We don't just put it on live. You actually have to approve it. You have to put your eyes on it. It's actually a requirement, not just of us, but of Rain as well. You gotta put your eyes on it, so make sure that you do that. You cannot put in anywhere that there's compensation off, and not even age or remarks. That's still considered advertisement.
Even in the directions.
Yep, even in directions says no. You cannot and turn right and you will be at the house that offers.
Yeah,
Um,
let's not play loophole, we're not playing that. game.
No, I'm not playing that game.
How about buyer's agents welcome?
No, we still haven't got it. I know, I really wanted to, I was like, but we can't, not yet. The other thing is that when you guys are ratifying your contracts, or anything, you guys need to put all your docs within 48 hours into broker permit. So we had a situation, they were telling me about it, that we had a contract, nobody told anybody. And then we had a closing, nobody told anybody. We find out like over a week later, and of course Rain's like, you know, this is gonna get fine. And so when it comes to the situations, you guys didn't turn your docs, that's not our fine. They fine you guys, just so you know, they fine you all. You've got to turn in your docs.
You
You've got to
cannot
turn in-
expect the brokerage to cover your fine when you don't do your job.
Yeah. The other thing is that I do not have to sign listing change forms.
But she does have to sign listing withdrawal form.
I do. Listing withdrawal, I do have to sign. Listing change forms, I do not have to sign them. And even if you accidentally leave me on there, because I'm on there, even if you leave me on there, you need to have your client sign it first. So I'm sending emails back going, I can't even sign this if I wanted to. You're sending it to me first, and I'm not doing that, but I also don't need to sign. So I don't have to sign listing change forms. I just have to sign withdrawal forms. And then the last thing for the admin is you can't turn in a listing at 5:05 p.m. and expect it's going to go live the same day. You need
I'd like to say you can't turn in a listing at 3:45 and
Yeah,
expect it to go live. the same
but
day.
3 o'clock's the cutoff, 3 o'clock's the cutoff for the same day. So make sure you get that in, because it takes her a minute, right? To be able to do all of that. She could do it a lot faster if you have everything in Instinet for that, ready to go, and she can pretty much just hit a button and copy it over. Definitely use BrokerMint first and foremost, but just the listing portion of that doesn't need the extra docs, you can do that in Instinet. That's super easy. Yes.
Ute responded.
Okay, what did Ute say? Can you come up here and say it just so it's on the mic so they can hear it too? Or here?
She said it can be treated as an investment property after a year. The opposite question would be, how long can the taxpayer still claim the primary residence exemption? If he lived in it as a primary for 2 of the last 5 years, he can still take primary exemption, $250K for individual, $500K for married couple.
Hmm,
That clears it up.
So there you go.
wow,
So it's just a year.
thank you, Ute.
Or if it's their primary.
It wouldn't hurt to,
But that's a tax.
Primary exemption. If they're married, they can be $500K, up to $500,000.
what were you saying? Nothing.
Talk to their tax preparer.
Read listen. I don't. I keep thinking it's something else. It even sounds like it, like the little screwy feet. Any questions on that? Is that what you wanted as the answer?
Yes, that's
Okay,
fine.
okay, perfect. All right. Hi, Mr. B. That's our executor of First Impressions. Oh, that's a little loud, and it's also on here, so I'm gonna go down a little bit. He came to the meeting, unlike you. You're gonna have to take a test. But there.
You know better than that.
Yeah, he was learning. He's the director of First Impressions, ma'am. All right. So anyway, we're gonna go through the trainings that were happening this month. I don't know why Tagalog is on there. That's what me and Rebecca think anyway, that it's Tagalog. But anyway, it'll also be on the screens. Is it on the screens out there? Have the screens been turned on? Yep, it's on the screens out there, so you guys can see that as well. But I want you guys to see the top agents too. Music is on her back, turn down, it's the same music though. Oh, Evertree, we have new reps. We're meeting them this week. So next meeting, you'll see the new Evertree reps. You guys already know about Why Not, and you know about our folk festival as well. Oh, it's there for a minute. Huh? Okay. And of course, all of our sponsors. Give your trainers a round of applause, guys. They worked really hard this year. Really, really hard this year. All right, round of applause for all of the listings, closings, under contract ratified that we haven't had for the month of August. Congratulations, everybody. There's a lot. FYI, word on the street is listings are sitting there a little bit longer right now. So please, for those who don't list a lot, if you are getting listings, make sure that you are telling your clients that so they don't have unrealistic expectations. Congratulations, everybody who had a closing ratified. Listing agent volume and transactions for the month, Stacy Porter. Closing agent of the month, Rebecca Slide. Listing, transaction and volume. Closing team, transaction and volume, Nikki and Munash. Listing team, transaction and volume, Nikki and Munash. $1 Million Club, Rebecca Sloan. Jean Rosalia. Did you guys have me? No? Oh, all right. Anyway, Nikki and Munash cap, round of applause. And it was Mike's anniversary, round of applause. And Rebecca Sloan has got 3 client reviews. Remember, when you guys have a client review, send them my way and I'll make sure Maria does it. Happy birthday month to Tanya and Jeff. Happy birthday. Awesome. What happened? What are you cheering over there?
I was doing Ari one.
Oh, all right. We're gonna close in prayer. Then we're gonna take like a 15-minute break. For those of you that are online, class will start then at 11:30. Since we finished early, I'll send out a text as well. We're gonna start at 11:30 so we can get some people out of here. 11:30 for those online. All right, Lord, thank you so much for this wonderful day. Thank you for the intelligent agents that we have. This transition is going to be smooth. We just pray that you continue to keep it smooth for our brokerage and for everybody out there. If it's hard for them, it's going to come back on us. And we just pray that you guide them as well, because we know they don't have the training we do. We pray that everybody in Hampton Roads is able to overcome this and conduct business as usual with a few little adjustments as possible. It is your business, and so we give it back to you every single day. And we pray for everybody who is not here, those that need us, and family members that need your hand. It's in the name of you that we pray every day. Amen. All right, and that's that. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump off here. For those here online, you have a different link for 11:30, and we will see you guys online at 11:30. Bye.